What's up everyone, John from ARTV. It's time for another episode of my series, Ranked. Ranked is where we go through and from worst to best, rate every album from either a band or an artist. I'm also going to be doing this with singles too in the future. I definitely am excited with the reception to the first episode. You guys seem to love it, and I do want to clarify whenever I do a ranked albums series, it is just for a band or else artist studio albums. It's not a B-sides or rarities or even demos compilation. You won't be seeing like Shenanigans by Green Day or else Buddha by BLINK-182 on these lists. It's going to be for their core studio albums. Now with this being said, I do feel like I have either a controversial or else maybe a differing opinion whenever it comes to ranking BLINK-182 albums, but keep in mind with this list or any list that you're going to watch ranking or rating or anything, it's opinions. It's opinions, people. Instead of getting mad about where I ranked California, Dude Ranch, or Enema of the State, maybe let me know your rankings of the BLINK-182 albums in the comment section down below. And while you're there, let me know what other artists that you would like to see me do this with. I know Muse has been a huge one, and I am planning to rank some pop artist singles as well. Pink and Taylor Swift are some of my first planned episodes. Now, a lot of effort does go into these. If you would, leave me a thumbs up on the video and consider supporting on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for taking me over the $500 per month pledge level. And if you would like to find out how you can get some of the cool rewards over there, it's the top link in the description down below. Without further ado, let's rank these BLINK-182 albums from worst to best. As much outcry as there's been from fans over Tom DeLonge leaving the band, you'd think they replaced him with Fred Durst. Calm down, people. Matt Skiba of Alkaline Trio? That's the definition of a worthy replacement, and much of California is seriously good. The reason California ranks last for me is, one, something has to come in last, and whenever you love a band and really all of their albums, you eventually have to single out one as your least favorite, and two, you've got to admit it was completely overproduced, more often than not, featuring excess amounts of na-na-nas and wha-oh and toned-down drums courtesy of producer John Feldman. California, both thematically and stylistically, was returned to pop-punk alt-rock form for BLINK-182, shaking off the electronic Angels and Airwaves influence in favor of sing-alongs with loud guitars and fast-paced drums. Hey, as much as I love Neighborhoods, I wasn't complaining whenever I heard that that's what they had in mind. It's just the execution that was the real problem here. Repetition, formulas, and inconsistency all played into why I just haven't been coming back to this entire album all that much. But there's plenty of fun moments like the feel-good The Only Thing That Matters, DeLonge-inspired Cynical, and shining Skiba moment Left Alone. Plus, if you factor in that deluxe edition that kicked off with moments like the fantastic Misery, it's more than worth the occasional full album listen.
Don't talk to me as I walk alone. I'd much rather be right alone than to be just another one you're lame to.
There's something about Cheshire Cat that brings a warm, nostalgic smile to my face. It's by no means a masterpiece, their best work or even totally cohesive, but this is what brought it all together for Blink, who at that time were actually still known as Blink, but they had to add that 182 due to legal threats from an Irish band who were also named Blink. They were so young when this landed in 1994, but they had moments of clarity, wisdom, and even deeper reflection beyond the jokes here and there. I don't want to give them too much credit, but some of the songs like the relationship-centric Cacophony, or even the commentary-based Touchdown Boy, which is definitely funny, but it also makes a good point about a doubled standard whenever it comes to men and women. It's generally either one way or the other. You prefer old-school Blink that were small, playing DIY punk shows and scoring some local hits like the classic Carousel and M&M's, or else you dig the updated pop-punk sound that they've shifted into on further albums like Enema of the State. Regardless of where your opinion stands, most people like the majority of every album they've recorded. I personally agree with that, and I think that we can all agree on the fact that Toast and Bananas is the fucking jam. I feel like I'm sticking a knife deep into the back of some of the hardcore fans by putting Dude Ranch all the way down at number 5. I mean, for Mark Hoppus's sake, Neighborhoods is gonna chart higher than this. John, you know nothing about music, you know nothing about Blink-182. Get out of here. Anyways, for those who can actually tolerate a differing opinion, I've never actually been into this record all that much. In fact, I feel like it lacks a punch as a whole. Its jokes have aged decently, some of them are kinda hit or miss, but the music itself often feels quite similar a lot of the time. That's a problem that I have with Cheshire Cat as well, at least coming back to it for repeated listens. Even though I don't come back to the full album Dude Ranch all the time, I still really appreciate the majority of the record, like the Star Wars worship and unforgettable musicality of A New Hope that still rocks, Dick Lips showing off Tom DeLonge at his whiny but somehow glorious best, and Apple Shampoo still banging to this day with Mark carrying the torch. In retrospect, I can see why it holds such a special place in so many people's hearts, but I really do feel like the band are at their best with a little bit more of a polished sound that they were starting to find but hadn't quite found, especially in the vocal department. Well, polished but not Feldmanized, I should say. The dude is over there scrubbing spotless diamonds till they crack. Chill, man!
He's a player, diarrhea gambler, trying to grow his hair, put your listening to Slayer. I like to find a Friday night, hanging out with mama, trying on his father's kite. Life just sucks, I lost the one, I'm giving up, she found someone.
At a time when boy bands and glossy pop were starting to dominate, Blink-182 helped take pop-punk back into the mainstream in a major way in 1999 with the glowing hit All the Small Things. Guaranteed, if you start to sing "Work Sucks" to anyone born in the 1990s or even the 2000s, they'll finish the "I know" part for you. Is this where all the na-na-na singing started? Well, maybe, just maybe, but there was so much more to the movement than just this overplayed single. This is where Blink skyrocketed to fame, sure, but this is also where they perfected their signature sound. Fast guitars and drums, but earwormy verse to massive chorus anthems with a seamless blend between the two vocalists. To take the guys completely seriously on ENEMA is a mistake, something that's probably going to keep you from fully enjoying the rambunctious sound that it offers. Go ahead, inspect the riffs, the unmistakable drums from Travis Barker, or even DeLonge's vocal quality. It all checks out, so please don't let the lyrics be the detractor that keeps you from listening. I know this album is landing all the way down at number 4 on my ranked list, and that might seem low, but I did have a very hard time placing these albums because I have so much love for especially my number 4 all the way up to my number 1. So with it landing at number 4, definitely take that with a grain of salt because some of these are very close, and I love this album pretty much from start to finish, all the way from the petty dysentery Gary and the monster Dumpweed to the serious tone of Adam's song, which speaks of suicide. Enema of the State is a multifaceted album that plays out extraordinarily well for Blink. Neighborhoods was polarizing to most fans at its time of release, but I and many others have warmed up to it a lot since then. There's always going to be critics who don't like that Tom led them in a much more Angels and Airwaves-y direction, but I genuinely feel that the track listing on the deluxe edition of this record plays out almost perfectly across 14 songs. What most people failed to see was that this was a natural progression for Blink. They were in their mid to late 30s whenever this came out, and the lyrical content was much more introspective, dark, and downright different when compared to their past work, at least the majority of it. And what amazes me most is that most people did not see this coming. I mean, the untitled record in 2003 introduced plenty of electronic sounds, bigger ideas, and refreshing changes of pace. Neighborhoods simply built on that, and even though the recording process was a bit strange and probably should have been all done together, at least in one room for the majority of it, I respect the hell out of the sounds that they dared to try on this album. For Blink-182, it is the black sheep of the family, but it's the odd man out that I will always lend praise to. If you haven't spent much time listening, I highly suggest suggest Mark Hoppus-led MH418 2011, the mesmerizing combo of the Hearts All Gone interlude plus the song itself, and my personal favorite, Snake Charmer, which might sound like a side project song, but damn if it isn't gold. This record reminds me of fall, of impending winter and darkness, which is so strange to say about a Blink album. I think that's what gives it an edge though, so go ahead, get ahead of the curve, and start enjoying Neighborhoods now before it becomes a cult classic 10 years from now.
Are we all victims of opportunity? Locked outside the door back in '83. I heard the angry voice of the man inside and saw the look of fear in my mother's eyes.
The untitled Blink-182 record is the most impactful statement they've ever made as a band, and even though it isn't quite at that #1 spot, I could see that changing 5 or 10 years down the road for me. As a kid, I really didn't think too much about the difference in sound between songs like the clicky down versus hits like the jump around feel good rock show, but looking back, holy shit, these guys totally mixed up the formula. Overall, this is more of an alternative rock album than pop punk, which I'm sure probably sent some fans into intense speculation of what was to come and why they would cross into new territories, but the untitled album was still massively popular, thanks to Feeling This tearing up the charts and being a genuinely awesome cut, plus the success of Always and the band's now staple lovelorn moment, I Miss You, that Mark Hoppus always introduces as For the Ladies. While I am a big fan of some of those singles, this album's secret weapon is its deep cut. Mark Hoppus truly came to fruition here, stepping up to the plate with his best lyrical palette ever and absolutely crushing everything from Easy Target and down to the super personal moments Go and Here's Your Letter. And some people will still say that they're all fart jokes and power chords. Ha! Try again.
We really need to see this through. We never wanted to be abused. We'll never give up. It's no use if you're to blame.
I've preached that Take Off Your Pants and Jacket is my favorite Blink record since I started talking about the band on my YouTube channel years and years ago, but what most people don't know is how close the untitled record has come to dethroning it in recent years. What still gives it that slight edge is just how fervent and possessive these tunes are nearly 2 decades later. It's pop punk done the right way. It could be personal bias getting in the way, but I do feel like Blink put their everything into these 13 songs that have already been passed down to a new generation. Summer isn't complete without a windows down cruise around town to Anthem Part 2, full of air guitaring I'm sure as well, and you can't truly channel any flare-ups of teenage angst without the endearing story of a lonely guy or personal favorite Reckless Abandon playing. They expertly walk the tightrope between catchy and meaningful, expressing themselves through iconic riffs, thundering drum patterns, and some of their grabbiest vocal melodies to date. In some cases, nostalgia can both bind and blind, meaning you're tied to a certain record or song just because you loved it so much at a young age. But with Blink's 4th full-length album, I really don't feel like it's one of those instances. I didn't truly get into the full album until late high school, even though I had about half of the songs on a CD from age 14 on, so I can look at it from a bit of a different angle than those who loved it from day one. Blink-182 life for life. That wraps up this episode of Ranked for Blink-182's albums from worst to best. Let me know what you're thinking about this episode in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like on the video while you're here, and to comment down below letting me know how you would rank the Blink-182 albums. This was all just my opinion, so I'd love to know about yours. Several other cool videos coming right here on ARTV and beyond ARTV as well. Don't forget to subscribe to my second channel so you don't miss out on any of those. If you'd like to support on Patreon, it's the little annotation over here in the corner. If you'd like to see the last episode of Ranked, click right here, or another video right here on ARTV, click right below me. Social media in the description. Other than that, I'll see you very soon right here on ARTV.